A business policy provides building, business property, liability, and loss of income coverage to the business owners. If you are familiar with the personal line fire policies, the concept here is very similar, with the exception that we are covering a business instead of a residential property. In assisting the client in choosing the right coverage, we always start with the discovery process. Some questions to ask are: does the client own the property they are operating in? How much building coverage do they need? Most insurance companies will have a calculator that can assist in determining the coverage. Local contractors and appraisers can also assist in determining the right building coverage for your customer. If your customer does not own the building that they are operating business in, they may still need some building coverage for their tenant improvements, such as build-outs, flooring, and built-in cabinets. This usually refers to the interior building properties. In addition, even though your potential customer may not own the building, some lease agreements require that they carry total building coverage. Next question to ask is whether the potential customer is operating business out of the building or is leasing it out to a tenant for business purposes. If they are operating business out of the same building, you will need to know what amount of business property coverage they will need. In determining this coverage, you should consider inventory, equipment, furniture, etc. Essentially, any property that falls out when you take the building and turn it upside down would probably be under this category. Even if the customer doesn't operate business from this premises, they may still need some coverage for personal property for items that they leave for the tenant's usage. Loss of income is the next coverage to consider. If a loss affects the ability for the business to operate, this coverage will replace any income that is lost. In determining the income, an adjuster may ask for tax returns, income, and data expenses. Most insurance carriers will offer 12 months of coverage, and a longer term can be purchased. All the coverages mentioned have a deductible. This is where the customer decides how much they can and want to pay out of pocket before needing the insurance company to pay out on the loss. Keep in mind that the lower the deductible, the higher the premium. On many commercial or business policies, outside of a fixed deductible, there may also be co-insurance amount on a loss. This can be a competitive factor when comparing products. Finally, another major coverage to consider is liability. In business, there are two types of liabilities to consider: professional liability and business liability. Most commercial business policies offer business liability, which pays for bodily injury or property damage when the insured is found liable. An example of this could be a customer who may trip and fall in a place of business. Professional liability is not usually included in a business policy, but can be endorsed, or in many cases, it is a separate policy. This coverage provides protection should a customer become liable from performing his or her profession, usually related to their credential or license. An example would be a manicurist who accidentally causes bleeding by cutting a customer's cuticle. This can be a liability situation with expenses that may include medical and pain and suffering that will need coverage. On this note, under liability, there is also an optional coverage for medical expenses. As a business owner, consideration for higher medical coverage may help pay for these medical expenses and possibly larger nuisances and lawsuits. This concludes a general overview of our business policy.